So, hello everyone, my name is Richard, and I've been asked quite a lot recently to talk about car insurance. And electric cars, are they more expensive to insure than other cars? Are Teslas a lot more than other EVs or other cars? And it's a big topic of debate because insurance prices have gone up significantly. As we stand now towards the end of 2023, it looks like, roughly speaking, car insurance in general has gone up about 58% year compared to last year. So a big climb, and a lot of people really feeling that effect. And we have heard of quite a lot of people saying that they're having to pay so much more this year, or maybe some people are even selling their car to get a cheaper to insure car. So I'm going to share some of my comments, some of my thoughts. So part of it may be about some repair costs and body shops, for example, Tesla approved body shops. But what I thought I would do first is gather together some insurance quotes. So we've used 5 of us from the office here, ranging between 27 years old all the way up to 49 years old. And just based on us insuring cars, so our home addresses and our policies as a basis. Of course, insurance is going to vary so much based on, any convictions you've had and where you live and all that kind of stuff. So this is not speaking for everybody. But what I want to try and do here is give some comparisons. So we're talking about what something, maybe a Tesla is compared to something else that's equivalent. And hopefully it's a foundation. Again, we could do millions of estimates. And it would be interesting to see your feedback and your comments. What's your experience? Where have you come from and insured, and what's the difference, and what have you seen? It will be interesting to see all those comments. I'm sure you've all got plenty to share. So let's start off here. So what I'm going to do is take an average from a number of insurance quotes that the 5 of us got. So I'm going to talk about the average premium. Like I say, based on us in the office, youngest person being 27, a couple of people in the 30s and a couple of people in the 40s, oldest being 49. And that's not me, by the way. I might look it, but no. Right, okay. VW Tiguan. If you have one of those 2-litre diesel, let's create that as a base point, because I'm going to come on to Model Ys as a common thing in a minute. But let's look at a Tiguan, common family practical car. The average was £538 for insurance there. Now, if you take the equivalent electric version, maybe something like, we happen to have an Audi Q4 e-tron here, so we use that registration, similar size practical car, but electric. The Audi Q4 e-tron was £591, so 13% more than a Tiguan. Broadly speaking, not vastly different and not too expensive. But what we want to do, what we often see is someone saying that their insurance for their Tesla is quite expensive, but I think it's always compared to what they were driving before. So if you were driving a Tiguan before and then you go to a Tesla Model Y long range, then that's probably going to be more expensive, because Tesla Model Y, not because it's a Tesla, it's a lot faster car. So a Tesla Model Y long range, remember the Tiguan 540 Q4 591, the average for us in the office here was £978 for a Tesla Model Y long range. The cheapest of all of us got the quote of £743. So the Y is more expensive, but it's a faster car. Let's pick a similar size, kind of smaller SUV car. So we picked a BMW X3, just at random. We found one with a number plate. And the average quote for that was £953 per year. Compare that to, remember, £978 for the Model Y. Just a long-range Model Y. Is the performance more expensive than the long-range? Well, it was a little bit, but not by much. Model Y performance, £1,063. So 11% or so more than the BMW X3M. Again, kind of within the ballpark, but yes, a little bit more expensive. There's also going to be variations of values. We try to pick cars of similar value, basically, so of age and value that's not too dissimilar and moderate comparison. Again, you're probably going to pick off another car that we haven't compared, but we could be doing it for days and days. We already spent a lot of time getting these quotes. So if you compare a performance SUV like a BMW X3M and a Model Y performance, there's a difference, but it's not tons and tons of difference, actually, really. Let's go to Model 3 performance, one of the most common high-performance Teslas here that we have in the UK. The average quote we had for Model 3 performance was £902, the cheapest being £751, the most expensive for a 27-year-old, £1,273. We've all got pretty clean licenses here, by the way, so I'm sure some people will get more expensive quotes, and you live in London. There might be a couple of points on one, perhaps, but, still, with points on a license, 1273. Now, What's equivalent to Tesla Model 3 performance? If you talk performance-wise, really you've got to be comparing it to BMW M4, Audi RS4s, Mercedes C63s. We're thinking that kind of thing, you know, fast kind of saloony type stuff. BMW M4, £1,472 average. So that's 48% more than the Tesla Model 3 performance, and it's not as quick. Audi RS4, 1,166, and Mercedes C63, £1,443. All those compared to the Tesla Model 3 at 902. So actually the Model 3 performance, especially for the performance, came out pretty well, we think, in that lineup there. Now, you also got a quote for a Tesla Model S long-range performance. I mean, there's a couple there. Not to 16, what are they, 2.5 seconds on those? Not the Plaid, come on to that in a minute. Model S long-range performance would cost an average, with us here, £965 a year. Pretty reasonable for a very, very, very fast car. And remember the Model S, aluminium construction and such, right? The cheapest quote for that was £800 actually per year. The Taycan, Porsche Taycan 4S as a comparison, average in the office £1,342, so a bit more than Tesla Model S long-range performance. In that case, the Porsche is more expensive to insure than the Tesla Model S long-range performance. Raven, 0 to 60, 2.5 seconds, crikey. Right, let's come on to, because I don't want to do numbers forever, but we've got to compare some stuff, haven't we? So you'll be seeing some figures coming up on the screen, I hope. Let's go to some bigger stuff. A Tesla Model X P100D. Average in the office, £1,313 per year. They're probably quite a complicated car to fix, accent aside, Falcon wing doors and all that sort of stuff. £1,300 a year. If we insured a left-hand drive Model X Plaid, £1,548. I wondered whether it'd be difficult to get insurance for that, but it threw up loads of comparisons, no problem at all. Averaging out in the office here, £1,548. So a couple £100 more than the previous kind of XP100D. Now, when you want to talk about insurance, anyone who's got a Range Rover, seen how much they are to insure recently? So we picked off a 2023 Range Rover Sport plug-in hybrid, not even the big engine stuff, the plug-in hybrid one, something sensible. And now, I managed to get the cheapest quote. Now, I managed to get one quote for £1,265. So about the same as a Model X Plaid for a Range Rover hybrid. But every other quote above the first one was like 3,300 and above. And we all found something similar. There's one company offering quite a sort of reasonable quote in the scheme of things, but all the others were miles more expensive. So if you dig into the actual insurance policy, there could be some differences there that really probably rule out the first one, and possibly, just saying. So the average quote for a Range Rover Sport, £2,206, but very commonly £3,000-4,000. I was just speaking to a customer within the last half an hour I was here, and he's got a colleague who lives in London, clean licence, 60 years old, pays £11,000 per year for his Range Rover insurance. Crazy, yeah. Now, we picked off a older Range Rover SVR just for a laugh. That came out at an average of £1,727, so actually cheaper than the new hybrid Range Rovers. So the new ones, it's been a bit publicised, security concerns on the new Range Rovers, but I'm not here to talk about that. So the Range Rover is a lot more than any of the Tesla Model X performances. For giggle, we got a Bentley Bentayga, £3,300 a year as an average nearly. What was really surprising, one car, we just happened to have one down there, the Porsche Cayenne, really cheap to insure, £541 a year for me. Average in the office, £919. Not reasonable. Don't know why the Cayenne would be particularly cheap. Yeah, so I think what I'm trying to get at here, and what I'm kind of seeing is that if you take, for example, Tesla, because they've been kind of targeted a lot recently, and compare it to an equivalent performance and cost level, similar size car, they're usually in about the same ballpark, to be honest. They're not much different. So, yes, it can be expensive. Insurance has just gone up a lot, and ultimately, if it's gone to the point where it just seems crazy, you probably have to just go to a smaller, cheaper car with a cheaper insurance category for sure. And insurance prices are going to keep going up. What's the reason for insurance prices going up? Well, usually repair costs. And I think across the board, repair costs have been increasing. I mean, there's paint and labour increases, of course, quite a lot recently. It's probably one of the main factors. But even parts like just headlights are getting more complicated. I mean, we had a Mercedes EQE with a 1 million pixel headlight. God knows how much one of those is. So some of the component parts are getting more expensive. I'm going to make a couple of comments about Tesla approved body shops. So I've just got a little bit of experience with a couple of them here, and I'm not speaking for everyone, and these are just my couple of thoughts and opinions. Don't shoot me down. But I have seen some quotes for some very minor damages to Teslas, and people have gone through their insurance to a Tesla approved body shop and had a quote. And they're very, very expensive. I've seen quotes for many thousands of pounds, which actually could be repaired for a few £100s. Now, people are out to make money, fine. When you're a Tesla approved body shop, you've got to undertake a lot of training for staff and have equipment and such like. So, of course, they're going to be more expensive. You've got to cover those costs, and making money isn't a dirty word. But I've seen a couple of examples where we're talking thousands of pounds for something that's actually not a major accident. I think if you have quite a bigger accident and it will need a very good body shop, they might have to remove the battery pack and stuff like that. But when you just have a scrape on a bumper, dent in a rear quarter panel, dent in the front wing, it doesn't usually need to go to a Tesla body shop when it's minor stuff. And when I was in a body shop recently, there were lots of Teslas in there, and most of them were just having very minor works done, all done in the same way as any other body shop would do a repair to a car. You know, try and pull the dent out, maybe you might have to replace a door panel, but nothing too complicated. And by the way, from my experience, Tesla parts prices seem to be quite sensible, and at the moment seems to be quite readily available, compared to me still waiting 6 months for a Kia part. Anyway, that's another story again. So I've seen some dramatic difference in costs with, say, a Tesla approved body shop. I mean, bit of damage to a side and they're quoting for a new tailgate badge. Seems unnecessary to me. And you might say it's better repairs. Well, again, my experience on a couple I've seen, including one very recently, was that the work wasn't brilliant. In fact, I'd quite happily say our smart repair guy would have done a better job than a Tesla approved body shop for literally less than a tenth of the price for a couple of minor little repairs to a car. And there's still an ongoing discussion with the customer and that car and the body shop and all sorts. But the repair quality wasn't very good. I was there collecting it for body shop and I actually rejected the car and sent it back into the body shop to be fixed up. I'm not naming names, I'm not here for that, but I'm just saying, I guess my point is, when you get fairly minor damages, really any body shop can do most stuff. And it doesn't need to go to Tesla approved, which are now very busy because even little things are going there because people think that's where they have to go. And of course, they're just putting high prices in because they're busy. And of course, then that is making the payouts and the premiums are expensive. So, you know, we kind of probably need to see some moderation and balance in that. But that's probably about as much as I'd want to say on that for now. So, there's a few comparisons there. Insurance is expensive. It would be nice to see a reduction. Is it going to change soon? Probably not. Is it fair to say the Teslas are much more expensive than anything else? Well, from what I've seen so far in comparison kind of performance cars, I don't think so, but do leave your comments below. Tell me, you know, what you've come from and to, and maybe what the insurance was on that and now. But if your Tesla premium is this, how much is it for something equivalent? You know, get a quote for an M3, an Audi RS4. Go on adverts for cars, see one with a registration, key it in, and use that as a basis for a quote. I don't think it does any harm. I think there's nothing wrong with doing that, is there? No, if there is, I'll put a statement somewhere saying, look, if you're doing it at your own risk, right, but just grab another plate, get a quote and try it. But tell me what you've experienced so far. That's about all I can really share on my opinion of insurance. Yes, it's just gone up. I don't know how we can swallow that. I don't see much of it coming down, except if we can try and regulate some of the body shop. I mean, maybe there's just not enough body shops doing stuff, and maybe there just needs to be, that's a simple repair. That can kind of go to anybody. It doesn't have to be an approved place. And that applies to other manufacturers as well, you know, Porsche approved and BMW approved and that sort of stuff. So, yeah, that's about it from me for now. That's me talking about insurance. Let me know your thoughts and comments. I look forward to reading them. I'm sure there'll be plenty, and I'll see you on the next video very soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you'll see more videos coming up soon on our channel. Thank you very much.